One other thing I wanted to cover quickly was the changes and updates to the refinery scene as well. So the construction PPE avatars have been updated to reflect full PPE. So they now have all the protection required. And when we get the character customization system in place, we can then look at letting the guys choose between the branding on the overall, if they want to wear New Age overalls, Promec overalls, L8 overalls, with the different color schemes and strips as well. But let's have a quick look at the refinery scene, and then we'll be able to just look and see how that's been tweaked as well. So what we've done is reflect the environment to be a lot more lifelike. So you can see the buildings around you. You feel like you're in an actual site now, as opposed to the block environments. And the same bus travel system back to the courtyard if you want to go that way. But also you have the standard PPE entrance points. We can add turnstiles there if we need to. But the core environment has been shaped so that we can look at each of the core specific equipment to the main process in the refinery. Everything from furnaces, exchanges, towers, vessels, tanks, fin fans, piping systems, valves, and so on and so forth, as well as cooling central units in the end there. And what we want to do once this is done is first off know that we can go up and down the different levels. So we're going to add in the climbing section shortly, the locomotion, so we can climb cat ladders and move from level to level of the equipment. But more importantly, we want to get the internals of these equipments in, so that if we want to access a manway and go into a column, we can. Some of them are a bit tight, so for demonstration purposes in this virtual one, it's going to be a little bit more open, so that you can move freely based on the restrictions that you have in a animated character situation like this. But all of these environments are accessible. So what this does is it allows us to not just look at our scoping training platforms, but our equipment sections as well. If we want to do alignment training inside a refinery, so you get a good feel of what the place looks like. We can do working at heights training as well. So what I'll simulate here is we can have that animated and have this working. We can have double tie off so that this piece of railing can give away, and you can, if you needed to fall. I've set the characters now to be mortal, so nothing happens when you fall. But the sensation of falling, poof, still not fun. You could show injury, you could show what to do and what not to do, and try and get some of that impact training in there as well. But more importantly, as we build the refinery and the industrial side of it, we want the systems to be actually working systems. So it will impact if we open and close this valve. So we can add a trigger to it. We can show information, so flow rates and pressures. If that's going to be something that we need for the guys to train with, we can. But more importantly, we can say for this type of valve, this would be the standard torquing pressure. These are the gaskets that we would use. This is how you would sling it and rig it. We can get cranes into position here. We might even just bring one in so that it looks nice. We can get barricading in here. We would want to be able to simulate pressure testing. There's a large number of functionality that we have now that the base scene is laid out. So the look and feel has been updated tremendously. It really does feel a lot more comfortable now, and it's been scaled to suit user environment. But the functionality for either scoping training or actual training on equipment process maintenance management, there's a lot of things that we can do here as well. And what makes it interesting as well from a refinery point of view is if we're doing scoping training, we have the tool of our PDA built in. So we can access our Google spreadsheets, we can access our scoping sheets that are on Google Drive, or we can access any of the forms that come in around it that we would need to access as well. And wherever we need to access additional content that's hosted in the cloud where the guys would normally fill information in, we can simulate that into the stripping, opening, closing of any of the equipment that we would normally work. So the standard method statement of a heat exchanger, we can simulate what the start to finish process would be. We could test the junior or any of the engineers' ability to do a bolt count. We can get them to do gasket count. We can get them to compile bills of materials, to quantify the labor that would be required to, if these three exchanges were part of the scope of work. we could simulate everything that he would need to complete from start to finish in all his work packs, his method statements, bill of materials, schedule from here. So you could do a site scoping in that situation, and then if needed, he could then go back to his office, sit at his desk, access his desktop. And if the desktop has not been shown yet, if I sit at my desktop now and I turn on, I can work on my monitor here, which is great. I mean, I can zoom in and I can work on Drive here if I need to, or I can use my actual desktop here. So if I click this UI button, what it will do is show me my desktop underneath. I'm still in the platform itself. I can minimize I can mute my mic, I can check my chat messages as needed, but I am now operating my desktop from within the platform over here. And that fundamentally changes the way that I can work, because I can get a whole bunch of different things done. I can access any of the bespoke software that I would use, like Photoshop or any of my other software. But if I needed to, I could jump straight back into my environment by clicking my desktop toggle, and I'm back in the scene over here, where I could then, if I needed to go back to site to continue scoping something, I would then just open my teleport window and I would enter the refinery again. And then I could go back to my equipment and I could continue the scoping exercises that I had started. So there's a lot of simulation and real world work that we could do. I mean, I could also add site offices to this environment, where you're able to sit and enter your site container and do your workstation over there and just pop in and out as well if required. But the ability, once you're in that office or work environment, to access your desktop and not just be limited to the in-game browser fundamentally changes the way that we can simulate things. So I thought that would be an additional bit of information that might be valuable as well. Yeah, thank you so much.